Welcome, everyone. I'm Cheryl Centeno. I'm the XPX Community Manager for our global team. And today I'm joined by John Dini. He is coach, consultant, author, and also one of the founding members of our XPX San Antonio chapter. He was actually our first president and is still a huge resource to our community. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Do you want to give, to start, do you want to give everybody a little bit of background on your history with the XPX community, as well as your background in the exit planning space?
Sure. In the XPX community, I found out about XPX, I guess, in 2018. And I called a number of friends that work with business owners, some attorneys, some bankers, some CPAs, some other consultants, business brokers. And I asked them all to a meeting in a bank conference room that I borrowed. And I said, hey, I found this organization in Boston. They've got nobody west of the Mississippi, but there's no reason we can't be first. And how does everybody feel about throwing some money in a pot and getting this thing off the ground and starting to have meetings? And to my surprise, they all said, fine. Actually, one of the attorneys said, I'll do it. Is anybody here not going to do it? And I think they were all just shamed into going along. So,
well, it worked. And 6
work.
years later, we're still going.
Yeah. So we have been, and it's been great. I mean, I've watched the chapter grow. We have a successor as president who is about to end his term, and I'm ending my term as past president. So for the first time since then, I'll be off the board. Can't say that I'm going to regret it, but it has been a great 6-year run, and we actually have 2 people interested in being the next president, which is a very good sign. So it's been exciting, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We've had even with COVID, we had a virtual summit. Our last summit, as you know, last fall, we had 180 attendees, and it's really been terrific to watch other people take over and watch it continue.
Yeah. And you actually have one coming up this year around the same month. So
yes.
Look out for that, September 2023. So really the real purpose of this interview, John, is to talk about your newly released book. But I wanted to, before that, let the community know that you have authored 3 books before this. First one, 11 Things You Absolutely Need to Know About Selling Your Business, which you released in 2012. Hunting in a Farmer's World, which came out in 2015. And Your Exit Map, which came out in 2017, which you've been generous enough with your time to present to not only the San Antonio chapter, but also a few of our other chapters. But why don't I let you get to your newest book, the Exit Planning Coach Handbook, and if you could give us a couple of takeaways from that.
Sure. Unlike the others, which were all written for business owners, this one is written strictly for advisors. Although, I've come to realize by the number of owners that have shown an interest is that they're reading it to see what their advisors should be doing. So
yeah.
And as you know, Cheryl, we also, besides being a practitioner and doing exit planning, hands-on exit planning for business owners, we also have the suite of exit map tools that other advisors subscribe to around the country. And one of our pet peeves about why these tools exist and the way they're focused is about coaching business owners. We feel very strongly that most advisors start giving advice long before they've really dug into what the issues are. And that's why we have 2 surveys, one by EPI back in 2013, another one by Price Waterhouse or PwC now, back in early 22, that show that 75% of owners are unhappy a year after their exits. That should not be. We believe the reason for that is they don't have a good idea of what they're getting into when their business isn't there anymore. They don't have activities planned out. They don't know how they're going to fill that 50-hour week. They don't have purpose. For 20 or 30 or some of them 40 years, they've been driven by nothing but what's going to happen in the
Right.
business tomorrow.
Right.
And they don't have an identity.
Mhm.
As I say many times in my presentations around the country, if you're Bob from Bob's Widgets, you're Bob from Bob's Widgets everywhere. When you walk in the morning, when you go to church, when you go to the Chamber of Commerce, when you go to a family reunion, you're always Bob, the guy that owns a company. And who are you when you're not that anymore? And there's actually some recent psychological work in there in that area that says it's not unlike postpartum depression.
Mhm.
You just really don't know what to do with yourself when you don't have this all-consuming purpose anymore.
And identity.
So, so the Exit Planning Coach Handbook is to help planners go through a better coaching process up front and help their clients understand what they're letting themselves in for when they're not the business owner anymore. And we really hope to raise that 25% satisfaction rate to something, anything higher would be better.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. And I know this is going to be a huge resource for not only advisors, but also for their clients. And it would be really helpful if you could let our community know where to find your book.
Oh, easy enough on Amazon.
Great.
Right now, it's on Kindle.
Hmm.
And we sent out some offers for free download just
Okay.
yesterday, Sunday. As a matter of fact, we had a few hundred people download it. But we will be sending copies out to the leadership of the XPX chapters, because the presentation that I'll be giving to XPX in San Antonio is really intended for advisors all over. So we're going to be making the offer to do webinars for other chapters if they would like it.
Okay. Perfect, John. Thank you so much. And we'll leave links to how our members can get your book in this article. But I wanted to leave a plug for your upcoming February event. This is coming up on February 16th. So if you want to hear more about John's book, definitely join us then. There is still time to register.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thanks a lot, Cheryl.
Thanks, John.